People will come up with all kinds of reasons, but sooner or later, you're going to have to confront yourself. They think about the worst thing that's going to happen to them in their lives, and then they say, no, it could even get worse. Every time you have the thought of your future, you've done it so many times, it makes you feel like you're connected to your future. Well, that's a conditioning as well. If you have the thought of your future and you feel the lack that it's not there, then you're back to the victim, right? But if you can have the thought, and the thought actually produces, just like fear, the thought of something terrible happening in your life creates the feeling of fear, the thought of something wonderful in your life creating the feeling of gratitude. Modern psychology calls it systematic desensitization. What you do is, if you want to desensitize someone to a fear of something, you have them imagine being in it and working on practicing surrendering to the fear or getting beyond the fear, relaxing and calming down. And so you're breaking, it's called inhibition. You start inhibiting that conditioning process because you're having the thought and you're choosing to not feel that emotion or begin to self-regulate a new emotion. And the research shows that if you do that properly, there are afferent fibers from the heart that go right to the amygdala, straight to the amygdala. And what it does is it shuts the lights out for fear. It lowers the volume for pain and suffering, and it cools off the circuits for that kind of tenacity and aggression. And what happens is you get this resetting of a baseline. And so now the person is more safe, that they're not anticipating the next threat, the next danger. They're not looking around the corner for the predator. Their body's not in that vigilance. Their body's more in the present moment. And so you begin to desensitize yourself when you confront the fear, or you confront the possible scenario, and you begin to choose a different emotion, or you break from that emotion. And because people do the opposite really well. They think about the worst thing that's going to happen to them in their lives, and then they say, no, it could even get worse. And they begin to emotionally feel the fear before it happens. And they're conditioning their brain and body to subconsciously become the mind of fear. Do it enough times, and your body is going to have a panic attack without you. Try as you may to control it with your conscious mind. You won't be able to because you programmed it subconsciously. And then you start worrying about the next time it's going to happen, and it's that very, very state of being that begins to create the next one. And so then the doctor says it's chemical imbalance in your brain. It's a hardware problem. Well, the insight doesn't change anything. And when you have that first panic attack and you're in the supermarket, the moment you feel that change in your inner state, you're looking around to see in your outer environment what's causing it. And you think it's an airplane or it's a supermarket. And so then, you take the drug, but the drug doesn't heal the condition. In fact, you'll still stay away from supermarkets or airplanes. So then it's a software problem. Your father was overbearing, was a perfectionist. He was really hard on you. So now you have the insight. My father was overbearing. Does it heal it? No. So then you go to the psychic. The psychic says that you were burned at the stake in the 1500s. You were a charismatic Christian in the south of France. Oh, yeah, now you start reaffirming, yeah, this is why I am this way. Or Mercury's in retrograde. Really? 93 million miles away, some planet is controlling who that's what's reason for my fear. People will come up with all kinds of reasons, but sooner or later, you're going to have to confront yourself. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of brain scans of people who have had anxiety and that just don't have it anymore. These are professionals. These are dentists, engineers. These are nurses, people that really were struggling a great deal with it. You cannot be anxious if you're in the present moment, and it's just a skill. So I think that we can use it in a positive way. We have activities in every one of our week-long events where we know that people can do brain and heart coherence. We got the scans to prove it, and then we say, okay, now that we know that you can do it, let's go 38 floors up on the hotel and let's rappel off the side of the hotel. And this is not about an adrenal rush. This is actually about the opposite. We got heart rate monitors on them, and this is the moment. This is a moment when you're standing up there. Can you breathe? Can you stay in your body? Can you relax? And the more you rehearse, I always say to them, what are you going to do when you get up there? Because if you don't know what you're going to do up there, you're going to throw a program in there and you're going to get fearful and go unconscious. But if you can stay conscious and you're reviewing what you're going to do and you start practicing, you're priming your brain and body for that experience. So what's the significance of that? Overcome that, in brain and heart coherence, you'll walk into your life and you'll use the same thing in the same circumstances when you're faced with fear in your life, and you won't be gripped by it. And if you just went off 38 floors in heart and brain coherence and you mastered it, you probably will look at the problems in your life as so much less intimidating than what you just did, and people leave their fears. So we want to put them in situations that would normally evoke a strong emotion or a program and say, yeah, that's natural, that's normal, but what would supernatural do? So let's practice that. And again, putting people in those situations where they don't think they can go any further, and then they go further. And that's what we want them to do, because going further means they're going against thousands of years of programming, thousands of years of fear and conditioning. And when it happens, they're liberating energy. And that's available energy for them to heal with. That's available energy for them to create a new life with.
If I want to change my life, then that means that I have to change, or nothing changes in my life until I change, right? When we learn knowledge, when we learn information, we make new connections in our brain. That's what learning is. We're forging synaptic connections. But that philosophical, theoretical, intellectual information is void of experience. Someone who takes that knowledge and applies it and personalizes, demonstrates it, initiates that knowledge, is now interested in the truth of the experience of that information. So the person then who becomes conscious that they could actually heal themselves